I'm Mike.
I'm Jason.
I'm Michael.
This is Snake Envy. We are pleased to be joined by Michael Larsen from Solid Serpents. Thank you.
Serpents. Yep, you are welcome.
I got it right. I didn't say solid reptiles. I
Yeah.
always want to say solid
You said
reptiles.
solid furries one time. I was like, wow, what is that?
No.
Maybe.
Now, I don't know. That's on you, not me. I don't know where
That's a different channel.
the furry stuff, that didn't come from me.
YouTube's after dark. That's right.
Yes. All right. So we're going to do another question of the day. It's been a long time since we've done one, and there's been a lot of chatter about this on social media of late, and it's been, as usual, kind of that contentious debate. In addition, I think this is something that we should address because we have talked a lot on the channel about our little herping quest, the unique gopher snakes that we found, and we have told you all that we have collected some of those legally. For a couple reasons. One, we've been talking with a university herpetologist and a USDA wildlife biologist. We may potentially be studying that population further, and we are going to be doing some DNA testing. But also just the fact that, yes, we intend to breed them. Yes, we intend to bring them to market, and legally here in Utah, we can do that. We're going to talk about the fact that in some states you can't do that, and maybe that's wrong. But here's the question I'll pose to each of you to kick things off. What role should wild-caught snakes, if any, have in the captive snake hobby?
First of all, I want to say any wild-caught animal that is, and this is my opinion, I feel strongly about it, any wild-caught animal should never be sold. Only captive-born offspring from wild descendants.
Agreed. I
don't like making a buck. I don't think it's ethical to make a buck off Mother Nature.
Off the animal you collect.
From the wild.
With that. Yeah,
and I have a very strong... I know Texas, they can go out and collect a bunch of stuff and sell it, and I don't agree with that. But, getting back to the heart of the question, I think it's okay to take an animal from the wild. First of all, it needs to be legal. Second of all, not in large quantities. Like, I will go for gulch animals. We're going to breed these into color morphs, and we're going to make crazy looking weird stuff. And
Mother Nature has already done a lot of the work for us.
Yeah. But
we're going to be able to expand on it.
Isn't that how they're all found? All these morphs that we love, they're all found in the wild.
Not all.
Point,
Not all.
Most of them?
Some of them. And you see some neat stuff from wild-caught genetics, that people breed, and something pops out. It happens all the time. I think it's okay as long as it's not a large, you're not taking a lot. You want to start a unique project. I know some, like Arizona milk snakes, pretty rare, extremely rare in the hobby, but a small population, and then you can start a captive bred population and offer, this is where I'm going, like you can take pressure off wild animals by captive breeding.
Yes.
And that's where I'm pro, and doing projects and morphs, and like I got orange Great Basins, and that came from wild caught stuff out of central Utah where there's known to be orange.
What about people who just collect animals to be a pet?
I think it's fine as long you don't have 50 garter snakes. I think that's excessive. Or rubber boas. I think one or two. Or you want a small little breeding group, 2.2. I'm cool with that.
Michael?
Were you recording earlier or no? Okay, sorry. So, it depends on the region for me. I don't think there's anything in the United States that we really should catch and sell. So you go out, whether you're in Texas. Speaking of him, so I took my daughter to Houston last year. We went to a reptile expo out north of Houston. And we were walking around, and they have venomous things. And they had cottonmouths in tubs for $20 that that they just said, oh, put it in a tub. Here you go, it's $20. That's kind of crazy.
Yes.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
But overseas in Asia, if it's done properly, I think there are certain things that probably should be brought in by a select few, like the DM Exotics, Dan Malari, that are done properly, that probably it's okay to sell a wild caught. I can't think of anything here in the United States that you should catch and sell.
I think we all agree on that.
Yeah.
If you're selling the animal you catch, and it's not either to be kept as a pet long term or to be captive bred and then eventually take pressure off that wild population, that seems senseless.
Yeah, I don't like that. But you know, if you're going out and you're finding a snake that's in a locality that's in a region that's going to be demolished by humans, you grab them and keep them as pets and then breed them. And then I think that's where a lot of the, I would say, line stuff comes from, I would say. People say, oh, this is a North River line trait snake. It's because they grabbed it out of the wild, kept it, and then they're selling the babies just as their own personal, oh, this is my childhood, this is my neighborhood. I think that's kind of cool. Or if you're walking around and you see a white-sided rubber boa, that'd be freaking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't sell them. But also, I wouldn't keep anything unless it was something super special. And then I wouldn't sell it. I would keep it. But then you have to make sure that you're treating it right and for medication and doesn't carry disease to your other animals. And you have to be a professional for that. Overall, I think avoiding keeping things from the wild is probably a good thing.
Especially this day and age.
Yeah, there's no
so
reason
much.
to.
We have so much available
Yeah.
through all the breeding and all the zoos and stuff. I think taking out the animals out of the wild, unless it's something unique or a unique locality or a color morph, of course the color morph, you can, I think it's 100% okay.
I don't disagree with anything you guys have said. I'm going to add to that a little bit. And I think we're all of an age where we wouldn't be in this hobby if it wasn't for wild-caught snakes generating our excitement and wanting to be in this hobby in the first place. So I do think there's a generational component to this. I think a lot of young people growing up now in the hobby realize what you were saying, Jason, that if there's a snake you want, chances are it's available from a captive breeder. There is no need today to get into the hobby through wild-caught snakes. There is no need today to have wild-caught snakes be your collection. There's no need for that. I think we all agree on that. You should buy from captive breeders wherever possible. We should want the wild populations that are out there to thrive. But I agree with you as well. Human development is encroaching on a lot of these populations. There's nothing wrong with taking some of these, bringing them into the hobby, and in a way you're saving them in that way and making them available to future generations. I don't agree with states like Georgia, where the snake populations, if anything, are overpopulated and they don't allow any collection. Right. I don't see the sense in that, and I don't think that's actually a conservation measure.
I think it's a lack of responsibility.
Exactly. If anything, a lot of those snakes that could be great pets and that could become part of the captive bred hobby are just getting squished in roads and, encroached upon by development. The populations there could easily withstand legal, limited collection.
They don't want to spend the money to regulate them. And so they just hands off, and now you don't have to deal with them.
And I think that's short-sighted. My personal rule for collection is not much different from yours. It's either got to be something unique or from a place that has special meaning to me, and my personal rule is no adults. Since I'm not a breeder, I understand perfectly why as breeders you'd actually want adults. You can actually breed those sooner. Sometimes you're even collecting them gravid. I get that. I get that you can't replenish your stock when needed with Neos. That just doesn't make any sense. So I'm not faulting breeders for that at all. But as a pet owner, as a hobbyist, no way I'm taking adults from the wild. I don't think that's fair to them, and I also don't think just they adjust to captivity as well.
Probably more stressful for a
as neos
adult,
do.
I would think.
I actually think neos are probably a little appreciative of, oh my gosh, there's no
Yeah.
predators, there's no weather,
There's no cats,
there's
no birds.
wow, this is paradise. So I could be wrong, but I actually think neos are probably a little appreciative of having a safe, secure environment, being fed regularly. So that's just my personal rule. I don't take adults from the wild as pets. But I fully understand why breeders would want to do that, and I think that's perfectly fine. But as a pet owner, that's a rule I don't break. The other thing I would say is I think that we in the hobby have to be more proactive in terms of guiding legislation and guiding the places where we live. I think what's happening in Georgia is wrong. I think what's happening in Texas is wrong. I think Utah's done a pretty good job of finding balance between allowing for legal collection, allowing for breeding of wild-caught animals. We were in Arizona recently. We did a video on that trip where we were looking for western green rat snakes, very rare in the U.S. They are very rare in captivity. Arizona recently in 2021, you can still export them. You can go to Arizona, you can take a green rat snake home with you, but you cannot breed them and sell the offspring.
Or sell them either.
Or sell the snake itself, yeah. We agree it's okay not to sell the snake, but breeding we disagree with. We do have plans, by the way, to put together a group email that we're going to send to the Arizona Wildlife Commissioner. Kind of ask them to reconsider that part of the law. It's up again in 2025, and we're hoping that they'll reconsider. If you want to join us in that effort, send us a message. We're going to send a group email, kind of point out to them that it's a little short-sighted, and then in the long run, you're basically telling people if you want a western green rat, you've got to come here and take it out of the wild.
Yeah.
And you're preventing any access to captive bred in the long run.
Actually, they're thinking they're conserving, but
They're not.
because
They're
it's
not.
doing the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go catch this thing.
Short term, you probably take a little pressure off, but long term, you're just putting that pressure right back on. And so for a fairly rare snake, at least their range is small. We don't know exactly how rare they actually are, but in such a small range, that is very short-sighted thinking. So anyway, if you're a breeder out there and you want to join us in that effort to hopefully maybe try and change the mind of the Arizona Wildlife Commission, let us know. We'll let you guys know how to get in on an email or send your own group emails out to the Wildlife Commission. And if you live in Arizona, maybe you could attend a meeting and help us out in that way as well. Okay, so any last thoughts? I think we have a lot of common ground here, maybe some minor disagreements, but I think there's a place for wild-caught snakes in the hobby still.
Yeah, in moderation.
Moderation, which humans have a problem with.
You know,
Yes. Well, after the furry talk, yes.
Well, if-
Remember moderation.
I did think about this though. It's like the San Francisco garter snake
Oh,
is
yeah.
hands off
Yeah.
to everyone in America.
But you know people are taking those.
Well, I don't know.
People are.
But they're in Europe. I mean,
Yeah.
That is interesting.
I don't know how to even approach it, but like,
Particularly when an animal's population has already been depleted to such an extent, what's the best course of action to help bring it
I mean,
back? I think captivity plays a
I
role.
think captive breeding could.
That might be the only way to save that type of situation.
Yeah. And maybe you allow breeders to collect with part of them going back to the wild.
That's a great idea. I think something that rare and unique, very limited permits or something,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, it would, I don't know, it's a thought, and I know that place is protected, and so, like, but, you know, what if a fire rolls through there or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Well, even Gopher Gulch, where we've collected some animals legally. Now, Michael will tell you he's wanted to go out there with us, and we won't tell him where they are. We
I've heard a
are
lot of stuff.
we are conservation minded. We want to protect the location of these snakes because even legal collecting could disrupt whatever's going on there genetically. If you take just enough of the right animals away, you could disrupt what's going on. And there's potential with the involvement now of the wildlife biologist and the university herpetologist. Who knows? Maybe everybody decides this population is special enough that it's worthy of some sort of protection down the line. I don't know. But I thoroughly believe that captive breeding is actually a way to help conserve and to help, further something that's actually pretty special. I don't know how else you do that, particularly with human development all around it. I don't know how else these animals would survive.
Which, if you're watching and you have friends like these guys who are out herping and they find stuff and they won't invite you, don't feel bad. It's just, I understand. Because if I start going out, I'll go out there more than once by myself or with them. And that could disturb the thing. I'm not going to ever take one because I like gopher snakes, but they're too hissy. So I only want captive ones.
Well, and why, like, a big keynote to captive breeding, you're getting a far superior animal when it's captive born.
For sure.
That's true.
I don't know where it's been.
A couple generations later, we're going to sell you the best of the best.
Good. All right. Because I go and find owls a lot, and I don't tell my friends where they're at.
With a friends and family discount, even.
Yeah.
I'm taking you to some cool places, I guess.
Yes.
I know. I'm totally fine. No, it's don't get mad. People are sensitive.
You're not
okay.
alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone. Yes, everybody should have their secret places that they
It's
don't
fun.
know.
It's fun to know and have that little
fun.
power. Ha ha ha! I know where this is.
Yes.
Yeah, feels good.
Yes. Once they've been well established in captivity, and we'll probably take you out there.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. I go drink myself to.
Or once they're about to pave it over, we'll take you there.
If it's anywhere around here, it's probably going to be paved soon.
It used to be right here.
Yeah.
We promise.
That stinks.
All right. Please subscribe, comment, tell us what you think. We want to hear you agree with us. You think we're idiots. Should wild caught snakes have a place in the captive hobby? Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.